In an interview with BoxingScene.com, middleweight champion Sergio Martinez has explained why he wants to punish Miguel Cotto ahead of their proposed clash in June 2014. According to Sergio Martinez, Cotto is an arrogant person. And in his own words, he said, in 2008, it was February the 12th. I came over to greet him at a television studio and he never even turned his head to acknowledge me. What he did to me, he does to everyone. But I am angry about something else because when Cotto was in the studio of a Mexican television network, he mistreated the people who were employed by the studio. From that moment on, I wanted to punish him. Now, Miguel Cotto is one of those guys who always comes across as a nice guy in terms of his public persona. He's always come across as a nice, humble guy. But like I say to people all the time, you should never idolize anyone, especially not celebrities, because you don't really know who that person is away from the cameras. Celebrities have a persona. They have a public image, which is not necessarily who they really are in real life. So when people go out and act like these sports stars or these celebrities, singers, boxers, actors, politicians, when they see their public persona and they think, oh, he's a great guy, I love this guy, he's amazing, you don't even know the guy. Now, it is fair enough to say, okay, I like this guy's public image, because a public image can influence other people. Me personally, I like pretty much the public image that Miguel Cotto has put across. But that don't necessarily mean he's not an asshole behind the scenes. Yeah, that don't mean that. I'm not going to come out here and say Miguel Cotto's a great guy, he's this and that and the other. He comes across as a great guy, but you should never be idolizing anyone because you don't know what they're like behind the scenes. And, you know, idolizing people in general to me is just foolishness. You should never be idolizing, another human being, because in the end, it actually degrades yourself. So, you can definitely respect what other people do. You can definitely learn from other people. You can definitely be inspired by other people's achievements and stories. But idolizing someone, that's a no-no as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, Martinez said that he doesn't like the way Miguel Cotto comes across. Says that Miguel Cotto is actually an arrogant guy behind the scenes. And, one thing I will say as well, with a lot of Spanish-speaking fighters who are popular, for example, Roberto Duran was popular back in the days with a lot of non-Spanish speaking people. But Duran, honestly, it was well known amongst Spanish speaking people that Roberto Duran was a very arrogant guy. He was very arrogant, talked a lot of shit, and was actually a pretty nasty piece of work, to be honest with you. But and he was a dirty fighter as well. I'm not dissing Roberto Duran right here. I'm just telling the truth about him. But non-Spanish speaking people really loved him, but they may not have loved him as much if they really knew, if they could understand the stuff he was saying, if they really knew what he was like. It's interesting because a lot of people talk about Floyd Mayweather being arrogant, and he is, not so much these days, but certainly in years gone by, he always came across as very arrogant and aloof and talked a lot of trash. And they would, people would say, oh, Roberto Duran would sort him out. Roberto Duran, this, that, and the other. Roberto Duran was just like Floyd. You know what I mean? Maybe even worse. So, in terms of his persona, he was an asshole. You know what I mean? Roberto Duran. So, it is what it is. As I said, don't be fooled by fighters' public persona. Again, it is good to have a positive public persona, even if you ain't cool behind the scenes. Like, for example, the Klitschko's. Maybe not the nice guy public persona that Miguel Cotto has, but they're certainly nicer in front of the camera than they seem to be behind the camera, the Klitschko's, So it is what it is. Anyway, drop your comments below. What do you feel about these comments from Sergio Martinez in this interview? And I'll leave a link to the interview in the description below so you can go read it for yourselves. It's from BoxingScene.com. What do you feel about this interview? If you're a Spanish-speaking person, have you always suspected that Miguel Cotto's like this behind the scenes? Does he sugarcoat his personality for an American audience? Is he really a bit more arrogant when he talks Spanish? Maybe, I don't know. Let me know how you feel. yeah, just fill me in on what I've talked about in this video. If you've got anything to add which I've not covered, yeah, just drop your comments below. This is Hatman, I'm out.